Good evening, welcome, Lockdown Workshop. Remnants of the Wi-Fi switch we were doing a few weeks ago. Right, so we've got the old KickR back on. My wife's been using this, so I've not really tested it since we did the belt and the belt upgrade. It's very mucky. However, everything is not quite happy. It's a little bit noisy, and there's definitely some clunking going on. I don't know if you can hear that. So it's like a dug 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 noise. You know, that could be it's just the bearings the way they are. I think it's in this bit. It's in the flywheel bit. I think the only bearings we didn't fix were the freewheel hub bearings. I think we did these. I think we did everything else. But the main reason we've got it back up on the stands is when I put power through. So I was doing some anaerobic thresholds yesterday, lactate shuttles. So you're having to accelerate from very low RPM up to very high RPM with it turning the power on at the same time. So it was slipping on the belt. So I think the belt wants a little bit more putting into it. So I thought I'd just turn the camera on and let you have a look at what we're up to. So let's crack on then. Right, let's get this thing to pieces. So it's making some weird noises. It's clunking and banging a bit basically, and the belt's slipping. So you can adjust the belt from outside, but I just want to check everything's okay. So we're just gonna whip these off. How's my camera doing? Are you behaving yourself? Yes. Of course, it's a black something on a black background with more black to look at than you can shake a black thing at. So these are thread locked in. If you remember, we did this not long back. We replaced the belt and the bearings and everything. But what I've been finding is it's slipping. So the belt needs tightening up. That's it. All good. Weird. Yeah, I'm missing a screw as well, which I've just realised. Right, let me just go and have a look at the other one. Yep, we are missing a little tiny screw like the one on this side, but I think I've got some of them in the house. I won't lose any sleep over it because we've been missing it for a while. I'm not sure if you need to do this. We're just going to take some of the tension off that there, get my adjuster. I'm going to put some more tension in this belt. Now if you don't get the tension right, so where this is working is we're screwing down there, it's lifting this bracket up, which is drawing the and it was making a clunk 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 noise, which is not now the lid's off. I think there's a little bit of snaggage going on there, but that sounds a lot better, so hopefully that won't. I can't get as much power on as I can with my legs anyway, but that's how you tension the belt anyway. Rest of it looks alright. There is some signs that there's we'll just fasten that off. Right, there is some signs the belt might have been walking a bit, but that could have been happening because that's not in the right place. So the belt could have been walking and catching on the plastic, which I've had on the other one, which I know the history of because the other one's mine. I've had it from new, so I know exactly what that one's been through. Right, we'll just stick this in. I do know from that when I first got it, and I was always very well behaved and trying to keep it clean and keep the dog hair out of it. Which, to be honest, I don't get out here as much. Still do get it. I did have problems with it not seating properly when it went back on, and you had to like physically bend this plastic box out of the way, otherwise it kept rubbing on the side of the belt, and it, you know, making that noise or as it's rubbing on the sides. So I do know it is a bit of an issue. So just tighten this back up. Make sure it's good and tight. Yeah, see, I think you do need that one there just to pin that. And it's this bit here that always causes the problem. It's that bit that rubs. So so you can hear it there, that noise, but I've not done this one up. So I'll just try to keep my fingers out of it, because I've already run my fingers over once tonight. In fact, there's another screw hole there as well. Has that one got one in? No, there's no screw in that one. I think it's the back of the, yeah, it's the back of them. That's fine. Well, we'll see how that goes, and I've tightened it up. So what I don't want it to do is slip, because that's just really annoying. Right, so that's just a little one. I've got another video to do. We've got a bike down there. A bike at last. So we'll just leave it at that, see if it works, and then I'll let you know. I might record a little short or something just to show it working. And who knows? But it did seem a lot quieter bearing wise. It wasn't making that like a chin up coming down, you know, with grumbly bearings. So the bearings are all right. And it could be just they just need bedding in. It is more likely that flywheel, that tensioner not being in the right place was making the band walk around a bit, and it was catching, because it was definitely making a noise. It was a rhythmic noise. But all I can hear now is the sound of a bit of belt wear. So anyway, right, we'll chuck this back. So I'm going to use this one now for a month or so till we come out and it's summertime, and I'll give it a good run in and see how it is, because it doesn't get much use with the missus. She'll tell me off for saying that. God, these things weigh a ton. Right, so on to the next one. I'll watch the next video. Boom. Right, we're back. A couple of days have passed. I've had a chance to do a turbo session on it. It ain't no better. I didn't realise how bad it was actually until I've ridden it myself. So we're just going to tear into this and see if I did anything wrong when I seated the bearings last time. I do vaguely recall that I did have some problems fitting the bearings last time, and I also had problems getting them off, so that might have been it. So we're just going to tear into it, sorry I'm talking down here, and just see if there's anything I missed. Worst case scenario is I have got another set of bearings that I got from a different company. But these were really good quality bearings. These weren't Chinese young jobs. The only reservation is that the bearings I took out were RS ones, which is rubber seal, and the bearings I put in were steel sealed ones. So I'm not entirely sure if that's part of the cause that there's a bit of vibration, but it does feel like it's a bearing's either gone or it's unseated. It's that kind of a noise. I am aware we're getting some rubbish on the side of the belt as well, which I do need to check up. We spotted that last time, so a couple of minutes ago you all have seen it, but a bit more recently. I did mark that off as well, and we're well past that. Actually, no, we're not. So it might be that that belt still isn't. There still was a little bit of slippage, and I'm just looking at where I put the mark, because I marked the adjuster, but obviously the adjuster's not going to go in as far as it would do. But we'll slacken that off anyway. I think that might be that. The only other bearing I didn't change was the pulley bearing. I'm just mindful of, so let me swing this around so you can see what I'm doing. God, these things weigh a ton. So that's the tensioner pulley bearing, and I didn't replace that bearing. So we will just check that. So it's easier if I just knock this out all the way. Now I don't recall checking it anyway when I did it last time, but no, that's fine. There is some muck on there though. Now that would have made a noise. There's quite a lot of wearing on that and scoring on it as well too, but that, as you can see, it's on the back of the pulley anyway, so it shouldn't have made that much of a difference, but no, that's fine. Just checking the belt, make sure there's no damage or anything stuck in the grooves, because if you get stuff stuck in the grooves, that makes it a tick 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 noise as well. It's definitely been wearing on the outer edges, so you can see that's there, but then you get areas like that and it has chewed the outer edge, but that's more likely being caused by it not being tensioned properly. There's nothing wrong with that bearing at all. That's spinning lovely and smooth. But it is as but there is play in that. So maybe we do need to go and have a look at that. It's running smooth though. No, that bearing sounds terrible. That's the problem. It's this bearing in here. You probably can't hear that. We'll try and get you down to have a listen, but it's whether or not you can you'll be able to pick that up. Yep, that's the problem. Should have done that last time actually. Right, so we need to tear into this and get this side off. So I think there's an Allen key on this side, so I've turned it round. It's actually I need to get it off this side. Right, I think it's a 5. Right. Yeah, and there's crap in that too. So you've got to make sure that these these grooves don't have any muck in them, because if they've got muck in them, they do tend to make a bit of noise. And there's quite a lot of muck in there. But I'm pretty sure I cleaned them out last time. But what we will do is we'll get a brush or something on them before we put it back together and clean them out. In the meantime, I need to get this off. And we need to find out what's going on. There we go. So that one's out. And that's off. Woodruff key out. Take the weight off. Doesn't want to come out. Oh, it is coming out. Just very slowly. Just trying to wriggle it out. No, let's gravity be our friend. There we go. Oh, see, that one seems all right. There's definitely something not right there. There's a little bit of chaffing or something. But that one feels all right as well. Oh, that's weird. No, there's a lot of play in that bearing. Right, I think I've got a horrible feeling my bearing puller went up to the... that's annoying. I bought some bearing pullers and I've got a sneaky suspicion they all went up to the garage, so I'm going to have to go and retrieve them, which is a little bit annoying. It's mean to keep a set down here, but it looks like I've taken them all up there, so we will have to go and get it. That's not gonna... We're gonna have to pull that one. Can't really tell if that one's got an issue either. Should have a gadget for knocking these out, he says. If we can get it in there. Yep, right. Let's have a feel of this one. Ooh! Is that what I've just done? That might be what I've just done. Knocking it out. There's play on that bearing as well. So I think what we'll do is we'll swap these bearings out and see if it makes any difference. I'm just curious how we can make this better. Right, So we need to get that one off. I need to get this one off. They weren't cheap, these bearings either. Yeah, that one's definitely dragging, but that could be the fact that I've just mullered the seal on it on this side using the knocker to knock it out. Yeah, because that would have been, yeah. So I've used this to knock it out and it's damaged the seal. Not to worry. Yeah, but it was definitely this that was making the noise, so we might as well just change the bearings, and then if it still doesn't work, we'll I'm waffling. I'll just go and get the puller. Right, back, fetched it, just to be on the safe side. Oops. We won't put that one in because that doesn't belong in there. We'll put that one in. Just want to protect the thread. It took quite a bit of force to get that off there. Quite surprised by that. Need to make sure we keep the wheel clean down there, because that's how it detects the black and white thing that it uses. That's how it detects the speed. That shaft does appear to be a bit worn as well. That might be explaining a lot. I think we might need a new shaft. I did see some shafts advertised, which might explain why we're having problems. If it's if that's where the bearing sits, which is where I suspect it is, that shaft's worn. So I suspect at some point one of the other bearings has seized and it's spun and it's eaten the shaft. So I'm almost loath to put another bearing in that one now, because I can see if you can zoom in on that. Right. Focus in. There we go. Yeah, it's spun the bearing. So I'm not sure why I didn't spot that last time. Or well, that wasn't, yeah, no, that was the bearing, that's the other bearing. But if that would explain the noise if it's been rocking in there, so we need a new shaft. I think you can get shafts for these. I'm assuming they just knock out, though that's not coming out. I suspect we might have to press that out, which I don't happen to have a press, but I'm not saying that it's not entirely difficult for me to get a press in there. Right, let's have a look. Yeah, we might have to get a press. Might have to knock that out. I suspect a big hammer would knock that through, and then you can knock it back in again. That's a bit of a bugger, but that shaft is definitely mullered. So I'll put it back together. Which was the bearing I knocked out. So we'll put it back together in a different way. We'll put that bearing on the inside this time. And then we will order another set of bearings up. I need something I can knock that down with, let's say tube. Tube. I only need to get it past that bit, don't I? What have we got in here? Oh, that'll do it. So that one's down on the bearing, so we've just got to put that in there, and then put the other bearing in this side. Sorry. Well, right, we need to order a shaft for it anyway, so I'm not too worried about all the extra noises it's making. Right, so it looks like this is going to be a long burn video. Right, back on the kicker, strip it all down again. We've got something now to fix this with, if you can find it. Where did I put it? Oh, not in there, dogs are going nuts. From a company called Bomber Bike Works. So it's about 150 quid to buy a new shaft for this, or for about £100 you can get a very heavy duty machined stainless steel version of it, which has slightly reduced there, slightly raised there, bearing mounting surfaces, extra hardened, super tough, all good. And you can get some fitting instructions with it as well, which I need to go and read apparently, because you need it says you need a 10-ton press to do it, which is probably about right, because you need some thread lock, of which I may have down here, or I may have up there. No, I haven't got it down here. So we need some thread locker to do that, but bottom line is I'm going to have to take all this lot to pieces. And we're actually starting to get some bikes coming in there. I've got a whole load of saddles I need to take back up with me as well, because they don't want to be down here. Still no news on the bike. For those of you who don't know, I got knocked off 4 weeks ago now. My insurance company is still tirelessly working towards getting it resolved. The driver's admitted liability. I've got a text from his insurance company right at the beginning, which, to be honest, I wish I'd followed up on that rather than going through my company that's provided by British Triathlon. Those of you who know British Triathlon know exactly which company I'm on about, and I'll be interested to hear your stories. But 4 weeks later on, and the stuff's only just gone off, and I'm still without a bike. The giant Defy from some of the other videos where we were switching some of the components over, yeah, it's a bit dead, Jim. That is very dead, Jim. Yeah, it got assessed by the bike damage assessor, and they confirmed what Joneses have already said, that the bike is effectively a write-off. Not safe to ride, would need some significant number of the components replacing. So bearing in mind it's got carbon wheels, carbon power crank, carbon brakes, carbon frame, carbon pedals, carbon seat post, carbon handlebars, carbon stem. In fact, there's not a lot that's not carbon. It's pretty much the bearings that are not carbon, and obviously the componentry within the Why can I never ever find the one I want? Put that to one side so we don't keep picking up the same one. Oh, I think we're there now. Just about to say I don't need to take that off. I was about to tear into that, but I don't actually need to take that off. Come on. We do need to slacken that off unless I can walk this off. I don't think I can. No, not worth it. I don't know if I tightened that up or not. No, I didn't. Don't actually know why that needs to be tight, to be honest. It must admit, it did seem to make it a lot quieter without that tightened up, but I'd tightened the belt up a lot. So I ought to go and have a look at the other one, to be honest, because the other one's not been fur-coated with by anybody. So I'm taking the slack off now, so don't get your finger stuck in there like I did before. Does not want to come off. I think we're going to have to can't be that much more to take out. It'd been easier just to take the tension off altogether. Just walk it off. There we go. Yeah, you can hear it's moving. Yep. Not good. I'm going through all of them on this one. There we go. I'll just check that on there. Might have a look, see if I've got a slightly longer screw and a slightly bigger one of those as well. So we just need to check that that fits nice in there. Oh, that does feel lovely and snug. That fits nice on there. Cool. So we've just got to get that out of there. Unfortunately, we're going to have to braid it. There we go. And you can see it's been mullered, so that's a good indicator that that's been mullered. The fact that it's done that, and then we've got to knock that out of there as well, which I will not use the bearing basher that we used. Well, actually, it doesn't really matter because I'm replacing these bearings anyway. I have got another set of bearings. unfortunately, when you use this one. A fine quality piece of Chinesium. So you'll see what I've had to go and buy to do this very shortly. We've got to go up to the garage to do it. Need that. I will need that. Right. I'll meet you up at the garage. I've been after one for a while, but the main reason we bought this, it's a 10-ton SGS manufactured. It's not really, that's just their branding. It's a Chinese one, but at least if you buy it from them, I know I've got some comeback if I get any problems with it. And it was about the same price as ordering it off AliExpress. Could have got a little bit more expensive if I'd bought it off Amazon. And if I'd bought it off Amazon, I would have got a few more of these to put in. The feet. You'd have got a little kit with them. But I'm not going to worry about that because I'm not going to be punching out anything really fancy. I am going to move these out of the way though. Right, so we've got to push this out of here, but because we've got a new one of these. So I'm just repeating what I've just said down there. We are now on the Insta360, which for once in its life appears to be behaving itself, and I do most of the videoing for other stuff on that now, and I even use it as part of the Zoom recordings that I do to record my feet on the turbo. And we were using it as an alternative backup camera at the core sessions if you get over to the other channel. Right, so we're on that for a bit. I've just dropped the camera. I knocked the tripod over and dropped it, and then knocked the tripod over and then dropped it some more for good measure. The instructions for pressing this out from the company that make this, which is Bomber Bikes, they manufacture these. I think I said that on there a couple of minutes ago. So you've got to support the flywheel inside there, just round there, so it doesn't damage it. So hopefully that'll press it out enough. If not, we'll have to go to a deeper one. I don't know if I've got a deeper one, to be honest. We'll come to that problem when we hit it. So we'll drop this in there and see how we do for height. Obviously not that well because I've just thrown something big and heavy straight over the top of the laptop. I'm wondering how other people do this because I did want to stick some of these in to stop them from sliding around, but the problem is I actually only need one for this, so it could go anywhere, quite literally. So we're going to drop that onto there. Hope that that doesn't hit the top of the bolts. It's not. That's seated over there. So this is fairly solid now, so I should be able to just press down on that. A little bit of a wobble going on. I'm sure it'll be fine. So we'll lock that off. And we will set it going. So this is a 10-ton. They say you need a 10-ton for this. Don't know why. Because it needs 10-ton. It's an interference fit, and I suspect it's got some Loctite on it. So I'm just taking up the slack. So be very careful. I should have safety glasses on for this, but I'm kind of hiding it behind there. So if anything comes straight at me, it's got to come off that or bounce off that. And it does appear to be moving. Now the only problem I'm going to get is if I bottom out and hit the socket I've got underneath because there's not enough clearance for it to drop into. I think that's what's happened. We've we've hit rock bottom there. So I'm going to let that come up now. I'm going to go and try and find a bigger one. It might just come out. Now I think the reason you've got to support this is because if you press down on this and it gets out of shape, it's going to be absolutely goddamn awful. Right, so we need something that's got a bigger depth in there. See, actually, that probably would have been okay, but I haven't got anything with a small enough hole. So I need something with a big. That's a 24, that's a 22. Right, I've got some deep cups. Right, I think we'll get away with that. Probably have to drop that down a little bit further. Oh, look at that. Right. Gonna have to definitely make sure we're centered now. So I'll lock that back off again. Let's have another go. There we go. Boom! Jobs are good and right. Apologies for that. I have to be careful with this camera. If I leave it running too long, it either overheats or crashes. So there we go. That's dropped through nicely. So I just need to find somewhere to put that where it's not going to end up covered in crap or with a load of bits stuck to it. So you can see that's the old one. There's supposed to be some Loctite on there. You can see it's spun the bearing. It's eaten that properly nasty. This side's the worst side. There's actually a really deep groove. That's why I can't get the bearing off that side. So we're going to press this one in now. They are saying you need some liquid thread lock. So let's have a quick look. Let's see if I can find it. So this is bearing retaining compound. I think this is the stuff they said to use. If not, it's all I've got. So that's it. So what we will do is we will just smear a bit around there before we right. Now, in theory, I've got to do the same again, but the problem is I need to support that, and I haven't got anything to do that, so I think I'm just going to have to put it on there and hope for the best. I really didn't want to. I should be putting something over there. Let me just have a quick look before that goes off if I've got any more tubing or something we can use. Thing is, it's going to have to be some fairly meaty tubing, and I don't think we've got any. Or it's going to have to be quite a big piece. And the thing is as well, I don't want to damage that there. So ideally I want something that's going to sit over that. But I really don't think I've got anything. Or we've got to find something to put against there to protect it. I might just have to risk it. The trouble is we're going to be pressing from the other side against that. Actually, no, it should be. So that probably would have been okay, but it's rough and I don't want to damage it. You can't damage that surface in there because it's it's part of the. Yeah, that's going out quite a long way. That's not going to work. I think we're just going to have to bite the bullet and put it on here. And hope that because they are fairly substantial, that's going to hold it, and it's not going to warp it at all. Right, got to find something to put over that as well that's flat, because I don't think that's going to go in there. This is probably where I would have been better off with oops, just kick you, why don't you? That's quite flat. Right, we'll go with that. And these are safe because they are impact things, so it's safe to use these, so they're not going to explode. Right, so we'll just try and line it up so it's as level as we can get. That's locked off. Let's see how we go. I really hope we don't warp it that shape. Right, hopefully that is it, and hopefully we haven't buggered it up. It does look like it's all the way in. Right, let's take it back down and see if we've fixed it. Yeah, I think it's there because I can see the stuff spread out. The best way for me to tell is actually to see if I can get a hook underneath it. No, that's spot on. Yeah, I think what they're worried about is because if you don't support that centre boss and you press it in, you could deform this bit. So I'm assuming this is cast machined steel. So you could deform it with a 10-ton press, but hopefully that's okay. Right, let's decamp and go somewhere else. Boom, back in the room. Just bear with me while I re-mic up. Just had to completely change the setup now. We're now on the DJI mic and the Insta360 in the smart frame thingy I've got. Because as I said up in the garage, I've killed the camera. I've ripped the thing off. So we'll have to see how we go with that. Right, so that's back. We need to stick the spring washer on. Now last time I dropped the bearings onto here. And then I had to whack it in. I think in hindsight I would have been better off putting the bearings in there and pressing them both into each other. So we'll get the bearing press box out and get the toolkit out there, because like we haven't got enough tools out at the moment. Yeah, that can't go in there, can it? Because it gets crushed. So let me just have a little bit of a clean up while I look for the tools. Right, so those two bearings are spent. we have got an entire kit of bearings in here as a backup that I kept for the other one, because the other one's done some flipping mileage. It's about, I bought it the year before COVID. I think I bought it in 2018, Christmas 2018. So it was effectively 2 Christmases before COVID, because COVID started happening sort of towards the end of 2019. I bought it the year before and I got a really good deal on it, and I appear to have lost. I've lost all the bloody bearings. Where are they gone? Hold on, are they in the bearings box? In that box. That says misc bits. Bearings, I bet they're in here. There we go. Loads of bearings. Why have we got that many bearings? Right, so we have got 603s. 603 ZZ. 603. Oh, so we've actually got a full, yeah, we have got a spare set of bearings. Don't know how we've managed that, to be honest, but I'm not going to grumble, because obviously I must have known I was going to completely trash a set. So again, these are close tolerance type C3 bearings. They should look exactly the same, so these are Dunlop. Yep, no play in there. I did think I had some play in them last time, but hey ho. Right. So just to make life a little bit easier on myself, we're going to try and find a little bit of oil. And I just want to smear a little bit of oil in there. Same on this side. Shuffle, shuffle. Let's chuck that on the floor. Right, so the bearing pulling kit gizmo thing that everybody slags off. So I want a 603. I bet we haven't got a 603, have we? 60, 692. I wonder if it's on here. There's some bigger ones on here. The problem is with this, you can never get the flipping thing out. Right, 609, 6850, 68. Oh, come on, you're not telling me we haven't got a... See, that fits the centre, doesn't fit the outer. Nope. I'll have to go hunting for another one. I'll press it in with the back. Nope. Nope. 1726. No. Can't believe we've not got one of those. It appears to have everything in the kit except for the one I want. There's a 601, which is what the other bearing is, I think, but not a 603. Right, let's go and have a look on the other one. I have more. Let's have a look at this one. What we got in here? Nope. 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 So we're going to have to find something. How can I not have one that fits? That's what we might end up doing. We might end up pressing it with an old. Might end up using the old bearings and press it in. Don't know if I've got something to support. You just need to be careful because you don't want them to shimmy at all. I've got another set of plastic ones, but I don't think they're here. I'll be honest, I think they're up in the... I think I took them back up to the other... Yeah. We sent them away in disgrace because they were, I'll be honest, they were shit. So I think we're going to have to do this way. Oh, well, actually, to be honest, they're nearly pushing in. Yeah, well, that's probably because I've just shoved one of the old ones in. Yep. One of those days. So we've greased up the wrong one. Oh no, we haven't. We greased up the hole, didn't we? Right, there is no right and wrong with these. So as long as I can get them somewhere near. That one's in anyway. All right. So this is what I couldn't do last time. I couldn't check they were all the way in. Right, that's much better. So now all I want is a little bit of grease on these, especially on that side. Especially on that side. Remove the finger lube and back again. Right. Oh! Actually, do you want to come a bit closer? Oops, not that side, it's not. This is the point where I realise I've not got the little spring washer on, but I have. Look at that, straight in. That's how it should go on. Right, I am a little concerned because I can hear something rattling and rolling in here, and we've got a bearing that's just fallen out. So I'm just going to check we've got nothing on these surfaces that's stuck to it, or that might be rubbing on it. Well, that's it, I can't see anything. I can hear something rubbing, but whether it's me, it looks like there's a lot less shaft sticking out there. This is where I'm still not convinced that the thing's in all the way, and I'm going to have to go back up and move the bus and press it in a bit harder. Nope, that's all the way in. Wonder if it's just a shorter shaft. It doesn't look to be on very far, does it? I'm not convinced about this. I should have checked the shaft length before we stuck it on. There's definitely something not right there. Nope, that is not right. Definitely not right, it's rubbing against that. Right, let's have another go, just see if it was me. But it looked like it was as far as it could go. Oops. Starting to lose my patience with this now. Yeah, no, I should have a bolt in there. That's it. I wonder if it just wasn't in far enough. It had racked up, but this would have. Nope. That ain't in. Where the other one's in. Nope, that's not pressed in. Right, back up to the garage. I'll not take it up there, I'll just finish it off up there. Right, let's give a little spring washer, lift it in. Hopefully it fits. Looks promising. Oh, it's not rubbing. That sounds a lot better already. Right. If that was the the problem last time, we didn't have it in the... so we walked it off up there as well now. Right. You in your grooves. Yep, you're in there. Yep, you're in your grooves. Hopefully everybody's in their grooves. No, that's not the right groove. Yeah, I can see that's in the right groove. Yeah, that's in the right groove. I'm wondering whether I didn't have it in the groove before on one of the wheels. Never mind. So that's the marker. I can just see the mark I made when we did this the very first time. So if I want, I can get it somewhere near there. No, that's about as useless as a kick in the teeth. Not 2 million miles away now. I don't know whether it's the Allen keys or the bolt itself, but it appears to be a little bit rounded out. And I think it's probably just maxed out. I know that's quite tight as well, so that's probably not helping. So you get a little bit more out of it. Yeah. Let's call it at that. See how it goes. That sounds better already. The bounce take a while to bed in. That's sounding better already. I think it is, might be catching on there. Anyway, right, let's get this on. Faffed about with this enough. We've got a bite to do as well today. Put my phone on. You did remind me, I'd not put that back on. So I had a bit of drama with the axle, whether or not I show that. Will be debatable. Just want to get this done, to be honest. It was supposed to be a little side project. About 6 months ago, I know ever since then we've been flipping well fixing it. So it was my fault. I said it in the other video. It was my fault. I didn't spot that the shaft had spun the bearing, or the bearing had spun on the shaft. Because if I'd have spotted that, I wanted to put a fresh set of bearings in, because they weren't cheap bearings then, they were quite expensive. They were about 20 quid. So the whole kit, I think, ended up costing me close to about £45, which probably saved about a tenner from buying it from one of the places that sold the whole kit and caboodle, which is what I bought with these. I bought a kit. I think in that kit you get enough to do the freewheel as well. So you get bearings for this top piece. Which we did. sounds better. All I can hear is the belt creaking now. So hopefully we've got it. Still got a couple of little screws to do up. Just need to remember, where's the little screwdriver? Did you one here? And there's one we have to put another one in for across there. Right. Question is, have we got it? I don't know whether to drop the wife's bike on it and just spin it up just to see if it's noisy or not. Right, yeah, I think we'll do that. Right. Let's put the microphone down there. See what you hear. Right, so I'm going to have to play that back just to listen to how bad it sounds, but it doesn't. It sounds as good as the other one. There's a little bit of a tick-tick noise from the belt, but that's no worse than you get on the other one. And it's a new belt as well. It's hardly been running. It's probably been used for about 2 hours, with my wife just sat on turning it over, and I did a 20-minute session on it, and it absolutely howled the place down. It did sound that bad when my wife was just turning it over, but I've just... that's what the big clonk was. I'd put it down into lower gears, and it wasn't quite seated in the gear right, so it's just had a big cough and a fart as it went into the bottom gear. But I was turning over at very high revs then. I was really giving it some beans in the 53 on the front and the 11 on the bottom. I think it's a 53 on that one. Pretty sure it is. 52, sorry, 50. We were at 52.11. So I was giving it the beans and I was spinning out. I've not got the power in, so no, all's good. I think what I'll do is I'll probably swap that one over and stick it on the other bike and run it for a bit, just to get it bedded in and see how we go with it. So finally, that's it. So that was the problem. Just spun the bearing there, and it's probably lost quite a bit. And these shafts are different. They're not. It's the same diameter all the way through, whereas the other one was turned down slightly in the middle. See, it's got a little bit of a colour to it as well. It might have got a bit warm, but it's all pressed in good now. Tell you what we'll do. I'll sit you there. I've got the gauge. Trouble is I can't measure the other one, but what I can try and do is try and get it on the right. I'm going to just see if I can get a reading on a bit where it's not mullered. So this should be a 17mm shaft, and we are reading 16.986 there. If I go down into the other bit, we are reading, so we were 16.999 on the other bit, and I am now reading 16.983, so we've lost quite a bit on that one. So same on this bit. Actually, I'll just be interested to see what the middle bit reads. Well, the middle bit isn't slightly in. Right, let's see what the spun side says. Yeah, we've lost nearly 0.1 of a millimetre on that, so that'll be where it was spinning. So we've lost 0.1 on that, and we've lost 0.02 on that one. So this end's not so bad. That end's definitely, you can feel it. It's fact, no, we've lost more. There you go. Oh, no, we haven't. We've not got it quite in the middle. Yeah, so we've lost over 0.1 of a millimetre there. So that's what your problem was. It was at that end bearing had spun. Which would make sense because the weight's quite evenly distributed over that bearing, whereas at this end it's not. You're pulling with the pulley. So, yeah. Mullered. Right. We will leave it there. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And the next video is probably going to be that. The Saab's back again. It's got a few issues with its gears. So we'll have a look at that. Right.